Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. It's your man DB. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so you can know when new material is coming out. IG Elephant Man _podcast, Facebook / Elephant Man Podcast, and YouTube. Go to YouTube and subscribe. It's back up to 981, guys. So we're gonna see what happens. It's supposed to have been at a 1K. So the problem I'm having is every once in a while, one or two people unsubscribe, or YouTube or somebody doing it. I don't know, but once we get around 81, 82, then it goes back down. So right now it's at 981. It's supposed to have been at 1K, and I don't know what's going on with that. I ain't gonna worry about that. Blessings and shalom to everybody. Shout out to brother Dante Fortson. Shout out to brother Yacoba and Teo Ministries. Shout out to Sister E. Shout out to Sister Shonda as well. Blessings to her. Shout out to Elder Rob Sanders and Bishop Blakely. Shout out, blessings to y'all. Blessings, shalom. You know what? I was in some reading today, man, and this is gonna be a good story because I got a question to ask at the end of this. It's not gonna take long, but I'm gonna play the recap. If you haven't been watching that series from Truth Unedited, I'm gonna share some. I'm gonna put some stuff in the chat. But Truth Unedited got a serious series right now. Understanding Israel, knowing the Hebrews through the Messiah. He got 4 parts, and so I'm gonna share something, and then I'm gonna open up Maccabees. First Maccabees, chapters 1 and 2. Very, very interesting, and I got some different things to say about that. Cam 4 from Baltimore. Shalom. Blessings to you, brother. Rachel S. Blessings to you. Always blessings. Rohan, blessings to you. Shout out to Black Tastic too. I did not know that he was going live too. I tried to go fairly early because I know Thursday is a jam-packed day. But I'm gonna show this video real quick, and I'm gonna get right into it because it's so amazing. A lot of people don't know about that first and second Maccabees. They don't even read it. You know, you got the Old Testament and the New Testament, and the Maccabees is in the what they call the Inner Testament. It's between Malachi and Matthew, right? Matthew, when Mashiach come on the scene. So between Malachi and Matthew, hey, if you can, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell, and then let other people know that we're on. If not, that's why I love the replay. So I'm gonna play this again, and then we're gonna go right into reading the Maccabees because it's very interesting. Because I got some questions to ask y'all. All right, so let's go right into it. It's pretty much a part 2. Yeah, I just watched part 4 today. Yeah, he said just watch part 4 today. Yeah, but then he made me dig and study some other things. Yeah, Maccabees when they was under Greek rulership, exactly. But it was some certain things that happened. You know what I mean? And when we read them in real time, I got the page right here, and I'm gonna present it on the screen. I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. Let other people know about it. But so I'm going to share my screen and just play this recap real quick so we can understand what's going on with everything. Because people, let's play it real quick.
At this point where we will stop, because understanding the Messiah sent is crucial and needs to be covered by itself. We need to bring in historical and cultural understanding in trying to understand the Jews and their relationship with our Creator. They were drawn to Him in a covenant based on obedience. And everything we see in their history, their ups and their downs, has everything to do with their obedience. As we understand them from the times of our Messiah, when we get to the New Testament, we cannot leave out the history of what was going on at that time and the challenges that they were up against with Hellenization. And the thing is that you really don't need to know all of that if you just read His word and understand Yah through both the Old and New Testament. But for those who mainly only read the New Testament, there is a big separation in understanding Yah's will for Israel and how they were supposed to be. So if you need more context and understanding, you want to go more into the history. If we understand Yah and we understand Israel, we should never have expected them to assimilate with Greece or Rome. And if they did, we should never expected for Yah to bless that. And understand that what Yah desired for them was obedience to him, so that they could properly serve him. So what we will do is stop at this point in history and go over what we learned in this part of the video. Here are some important parts to know in part 2 of understanding Israel. Number 1, when we understand Yah through how he dealt with Israel, we can learn and better understand how to serve him. Number 2, Yah consistently communicated the same message of obedience to Israel. You shall walk after Yahuwah your Elohim and fear him, and keep his commandments and obey his voice. You shall serve him and hold fast to him. Number 3, all the Jews who followed after and understood Messiah understood the fundamental message of obeying Yah. Like Yahusha said in John chapter 14, verse 15, if you love me, keep my commandments. Number 4, we cannot just live in lawlessness. He said those who live like that will be rejected because they did not know him. It's found in Matthew chapter 7, verse 23. Number 5, as we come to serve him, we must know what he loves and what he hates, what he really responds negatively to, and what brings him delight, honor, and praise. And we will only know this through reading his word. Number 6, Deuteronomy chapter 28 should be a fundamental part of understanding when learning and knowing about Israel, because it speaks to so many things, not only about Israel and its identity, but also about Yah and how he dealt with obedience and disobedience. Number 7, the people of the other nations were called Gentiles or strangers during that time. It's important that you grasp the importance of that designation of stranger in reference to the people of the other nations. Understand they are strangers because they did not know Yah. But if they claimed to Israel and served Israel, they would then be grafted into Yah through Israel, no longer a stranger. Number 8, the foreigner or stranger was not able to dwell in Israel and serve Yah any way they chose. Through the example of Israel, they were taught how to serve Yah. Number 9, after Solomon, Israel was divided and the northern 10 tribes declared their own king, and Judah and Benjamin declared their own king, and the 2 kingdoms were separate. Israel was divided. There was the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. The northern tribes went straight into wickedness, and they were conquered first by the Assyrians. They never returned as a whole back to their land. Judah was later carried off by Babylon. They eventually did come back to the land, and they rebuilt the temple. Number 10, they were prophesied of a redeemer from the line of King David, and many of them expected him to be like King David and unite the kingdom and bring back peace in their land, removing the hand of the Romans that were now in control of the land of Judea. Number 11, Alexander the Great took control of Judah in the 4th century BC. Number 12, Greece Hellenized the wealthy in Judah, bringing much Greek culture to the Hebrews. This was mostly the educated scribes and Pharisees especially. Number 13, the leaders of Greece dealt harshly with Judah, consecrating their temple. Number 14, the Maccabees fought back and reclaimed control over Judah and their temple. Number 15, this Maccabean rule ended in 63 BC when Rome took control of Judah. Number 16, Judah and Jerusalem were much different than they were during the times before they were conquered by Babylon. Number 17, the people of Yah believed that their way and culture was the absolute way because they were in communion with the one true God, not the pagan gods that their forefathers were rejected and chastised for following. For those that wished to stay under Yah, they held to their culture. Number 18, Yah did not continuously focus on obedience of his commands to Israel and severely chastise them when they were disobedient, to later send a savior to the world and just tell them to believe and not require obedience to his commands. You are speaking of 2 different gods if this is how you look at him. We show we love him by honoring his commands. And this was some of the main takeaways from this video. By this point, you should have an understanding of the importance of obedience and following Yah's ways and commands. You should understand just how much he required it. We cannot speak of him and then ignore that this was important to him and what he required of Israel. But you would only understand this if you understood Yah. As the Jews came back to the land, They did not reject their culture and their ways. They held on to it. They fought for it. So as you apply a level of thinking to the New Testament, because what is told to us is that it was written in Greek, that piece of information right there should not totally make you forget the complete way that Israel lived up until that point. And now you just want to apply the Hellenized way of the Greeks in understanding the God of the Hebrews. You should never do that. Whenever you do this, you have formed a strong misunderstanding of Yah, and that will lead you astray and away from him. But don't worry about it. He desires you to come back to him, which is why series like this are being made, which is why people all over the world are bringing back the importance of following him. And today, as we live out our lives as people of Yah, let us attach to him through a spirit of humility and obedience, and serve him with all our hearts and our souls. You can see where this world is going. And so rather than focus on all the noise, we will focus on growing in our faith and obedience to the Most High. Continue to draw near to him, and he will draw nearer to you. Believe on him through his son Yahusha, and follow him. Now is the time to be forgiven and redeemed. Repent and be obedient to him. He has called you to do so. Will you answer? I hope you do. Be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yah.
All right. So I know I showed it on the other video, but I had to show that one first because it's going to help me answer my questions. Ask my question. All right. Later on. But we're going to read some scripture. We're going to read First Maccabees. Shalom to you. I'll see you up next. We definitely we're going to chop it up on that. Shalom, Kimbler J. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Who else I didn't say that to? Shalom up next. Blessings to you. Sisters Knitting More. My fault for the typo. Typing fast. Blessings to you. Shalom. Shalom. All right. Garth. Garth Yehuda Andrews. Blessings to you. Shalom, shalom. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. If not, I'm going to go back to it at the end. But, so, I'm not the type of person that believes that only Israel can be saved. But I thought about this. Israel, when they disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, they went into captivity, right? They went to Babylonian captivity for 70 years. They went to the Syrian captivity, well, pretty much the northern kingdom. But they went to captivity, right? And then in Egypt, they went into captivity. When they went to captivity, they picked up certain styles and customs when they went to captivity, right? And I'm setting it up because you think about where we at right now. Do you think that we picked up something along the way? Our voyage here in the United States of America. Do you think that we picked up, or even before then, right? Do you think we picked up some things? So don't answer that just yet, but I'm going to read some different things about cultural assimilation, and then we're going to go right into the story. So I got cultural assimilation straight from Wikipedia. Matter of fact, I'm going to share it. I'm going to walk through it. I'm not going to go fast. Ernest Higgs, Shalom. Let's see. Paste it. Okay, this is from Wiki. I know Wiki is not a source, but it's very interesting why they did it. So I put it in the chat. Ernest Higgs. Why is my thing acting up? Shalom to you. All right. So the definition of that, it says cultural assimilation is a process in which a minority group or culture comes to resemble society's majority group or assume the values, behaviors, and beliefs of other groups, whether fully or partially. The different type of cultural assimilation include full assimilation and forced assimilation. Full assimilation being the most prevalent of the two, it occurs spontaneously during cultural assimilation. Minority groups are expected to adapt to the everyday practice of the dominant culture through language and appearance, as well as via more significant socioeconomic factors as absorption into the local culture or unemployment community, right? So basically, that's just basically saying cultural assimilation is you assimilate to the culture, right? The dominant culture, right? So I'm gonna read a few other things before I get into the Maccabees. Okay, compliant, right? When someone is compliant, they go along with others, especially people of authority. What the people in authority want them to do. When someone is non-compliant, they resist authority. So their definition of non-compliant is resist authority, right? So we got different countries, we got different cultures, right? And a lot of times the nations want us to assimilate to their culture, their customs, their traditions. But if it's against, I'm gonna slow walk this so people don't let's take it out of context. But if they're against the things that are most high, then how can we assimilate to them and still keep the things that are most high? Okay. All right. Compliance is when an individual gave into an express request from another person or other people, whereas obedience refers to doing something totally told to someone. Then I looked up the definition of colonization: the action or process of setting among the established control over indigenous people in the area. So it's like you can stay in your area, but we're going to come and we're going to colonize. We're going to bring our culture, our customs, our laws, our traditions, our way of doing things. And we want you to pitch the way you've been doing things so you can be in compliant with us. Okay. The action and process of settling among establishing control over indigenous people in the area. Okay. Then Hellenization is what we're talking about right now. Hellenization just basically means Greek culture. I should have just projected that, but I'm gonna read it anyway. And then we're gonna read first book of Maccabees, because something happened in the first Maccabees 1 and 2 that's very interesting to me. Hellenization or Hellenism refers to the spread of Greek culture that had begun after conquest Alexander the Great in the 4th century. Hellenization is a broad concept that can include writing or speaking in Greek, adopting Greek forms of idea in art, literature, creating between Greek and non-Greek cultures. Alexander the Great created the Hellenistic age, the time when Greek culture mixed with various cultures during Alexander's empire. Okay, and so to say the end of the Hellenistic period of the Romans' conquest, when they 146 BC by Octavian defeated the Ptolemaic Egypt. So then Rome took over. So basically, y'all know the pattern. A lot of you guys know the pattern. It was if you think about Daniel and the statue, right? So it was Babylon. Then Persia came in, right? And after 70 years, we was in captivity of Babylon. If you read Jeremiah, then Persia came in, took over. Then Greece took over Persia. That's going to say it right here in the first chapter of Maccabees. Then after Greece, it was Rome, right? And then the 10 toes is not really together. They're part iron, part clay, a kind of a revived Roman Empire because they got the iron in there, but they're not together, right? And that's like the 10 kingdoms at the end. But we're going to talk about that later. You just read what it means when the Israelites were called Gentiles in the New Testament. Okay, he said, I'm trying to show it went up one. Let me see what up next said. You just read what it means when the Israelites were called Gentiles in the New Testament. Okay, we about to read it right now. I'm about to show it. This first Maccabees, and I'm gonna put it in the chat because this is a book. It says edible.org, and you'll be able to get it. So we're not gonna get into no real deep study, but we're gonna. Calvin Andrews, what's up? Shalom to you, brother. William Smithers just slid in here on us. Shalom to you, brother. Yeah, man. I was telling everybody. And then I think Sisters Nick Moore said she didn't get the notification. People are getting unsubscribed, not getting notifications. Once I get close to that 1K mark, they unsubscribe a few people, and it's just weird. Okay, present, share the screen. We're gonna read this. Okay, it's very interesting. I was reading it today. We see, can y'all see that? Oh, that's kind of small, but I guess it ain't. Yeah, let me see if I do it like this. No, because my picture gonna be in there. All right, we can go side by side. Y'all got it. I put it in the link. Okay. This is when Alexander the Great took over. right? They're defeating the Persian army, right? And it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip of Macedonia. I want to make sure I'm not. Okay, it was unmuted. Because you know, man, stuff be getting muted, man. I've been sharing all of this stuff, but it's been muted the whole time. You know, I gotta check, I gotta check everything, man. Gotta check everything. And it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip, Macedonia, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius of the Persians and Medes. So Persia is no longer is in control. And see, some people calling me, and they know I'm doing a live. Boy, this is a ghetto live. Put that over there. So King Darius of the Persians and Medes that had reigned in his stead over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Chapter 3. And went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations. And so as much the earth was quiet before him. So basically Greece was just rolling, right? Whereupon he was exalted in his heart and was lifted up. Yeah, you can get into pride. If you're doing all that, you can get to pride. Okay. I want y'all to track with me, okay? Track with me. If not, if you want to leave and come back and play the replay, that's fine. Okay. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Verse 5. And after these things he fell sick and perceived he should die, where he called his servants. So this Alexander the Great died when he was 33. Let me get rid of some of these. I'm going somewhere. If y'all track with me, I gotta do this foundational work first. Okay? So wait a minute. Compliance. I got a lot of windows open, man. All right. So he called his servants, verse 6, such were honorable and had been brought up from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. So he died at 33 or 32. I think it was 33. And his servants bear rule over in one place. And after his death, they put crowns upon themselves. Like he said, I'm making y'all rulers, but I ain't put y'all no crowns on y'all. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. Right? So Greek rule, it was clowning. Evils were multiplied in the earth. We scroll up so we can see it. Verse 10. And there came out a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes. I'm sorry if I tear the name up. Son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he resigned in the 137th year of the king of the Greeks. Now, in those days, verse 11, this is interesting. In those days, when there were out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that is round about us. I'm going to read that again. Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. I'm not calling nobody heathen. That's right there in Maccabees, that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have much sorrow. So Israel was like, man, we down bad. We need to go ahead and make a covenant. You know, they already supposed to have been in covenant with the Most High. And they was like, let us go. Dale J, shalom, brother. And thank you. You know, you all always say thank you, Dale J. You know why. So I'm going back and forth. So if I don't see anything. So you're going to make a covenant with the heathen. You're supposed to be in covenant with the Most High. And time again, we always get in trouble because we supposed to lead by example to all nations, right? Salt and light of the earth. We're supposed to lead by example. But for some kind of way, we think their ice water is cooler and we assimilate. And I got the definition of that too, to their culture, right? But I'm going to read that in a second. Then the certain people who were so forward herein, and they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. So they got permission from the heathen, from the king, to do what everybody else doing. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. This is when it started to get interesting. Okay, we're not following the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, right? Struggling a little bit and think we forsaken, and then start doing the customs of the heathen because it looked like they're doing good. joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief, right? So they made a covenant with the heathen. The heathen influence is mischief. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion over two realms. So he went and said, look, I'm controlling everything. I'm about to control Egypt as well. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots, elephants, horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, the king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded by death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. So he went on ahead and conquered Egypt. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem and a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary. See, it's about to get bad, man. He went to the sanctuary. He wasn't supposed to go in the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar. See, this is another thing too. Even when in Babylon, when they went to Babylon, they took away all of the menorahs and everything too, and all of the gold too. He entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof, and the table of showbread, and the pouring vessels of the vials, and censer of gold, and the vials of the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. So he rearranging, he going in that rearranging and changing the things of the Most High. I want y'all to check this out, man. Verse 23. I should have scrolled up. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. He also took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoke proudly. That's crazy. That keeps happening. It keeps recurring. It happens here, you know. But that's when it says something about massacre. Well, down here, I'm going to read something else. Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were. So the princes and elders mourned. The virgins and the young men were made feeble. The beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she sat in the marriage chamber. Chamber was in heaviness, and the land was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. We get away from the things of the Most High, we are covered straight up with confusion, right? We are supposed to lead. And even from that video and even from that series, we're supposed to be the oracles of God. You know what I mean? But I don't know why we try to be, we're supposed to lead all nations to the Most High. Okay? So Jacob was covered with great confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent chief collector of the tribute into the city of Judah, who came into Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake. Now this right here, man, they always get us with this. Verse 30. And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. So they spoke peaceable words, right? We get that a lot. We got a lot of covert operations going on. It wasn't all of us, though. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't all of us. I feel you. I'm getting to it. But I'm saying, as a nation, and so a lot of times we be like, man, shoot, I'm cool. I got my ticket punch. But I'm saying as a whole, I said they spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. Verse 31. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and the walls thereof. And verse 31, it just reminded me of that Black Wall Street. Now, I know that this was back in the day, but it said he had taken the spoils of the city and set it on fire. And so if anybody know that Black Wall Street story, it was claimed that a white woman had got raped or something, and they would try to run up in there and get them and do stuff. But a lot of these guys were World War I vets. So they was, they like, no, we ain't going. Came back with planes, bombed it up, burned it up. This clown, you know what I'm saying? It's just, and they couldn't rebuild, right? Some didn't have the money or the resources to rebuild. But this is history. So I'm not doing nothing to hate. Cats be thinking I'm hating. So, but they couldn't rebuild, and then they sanctioned where they said, well, no, you can't rebuild on this land. So a lot of those different things. That's how those Maccabees boys were killed too. Deceit. Yep. But to up next point, it was some people that stood up. But watch what happened when they like, no, we got a covenant. We're in relationship with the Most High. We good. We straight. Watch this. Spake peaceable words, but it was deceit. And it was taking up spoils from the city and set on fire, verse 31, and pulled down the houses, the walls thereof on every side. But the women and the children they took captive and possessed the cattle. Straight grabbing the stuff again, man. And I think when I think about the children being taken captive, and when our young people get locked up, juvenile. But built they the city of David with great strong wall and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. So they put people in place that wasn't in the tribe of Levi. They put who they want in there. They stored up also the armor and victuals of verse 35. And when they had altogether, when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid up there, so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and the evil adversary for Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. Man, that's wild. I know I'm gonna get some emails on this one. And so much the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an inhabitant of strangers, right? An inhabitation of strangers, and became strange to those who were born in there, and her own children left her. Verse 39, her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, right? No more feasts. We ain't got to do feasts no more. We straight. We ain't got to do that no more. That's old. Just say the sinner's prayer, you good, right? Her Sabbaths were reproached, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Right there was debased. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to the whole kingdom that all should be of one people. Now it's time to assimilate everybody. We need everybody to be in compliance now. We came in there, we took the vessels, we just destroyed the altar. We made it of null and void. We made it not important. That stuff ain't important. Just come do what we gonna do. And so now the king Antiochus said all should be of one people. Now, when people hear this, we need to just come together. We should all get along. Rodney King, he said that back in the day, the late Rodney King. Can we all just get along and all these different things for those who know about that Rodney King beating, or whatever. And just assimilate and we just be one and we just be unified and we have just peace, right? So on the surface, it looks like, okay, yeah, I feel you. Yeah, we should all be one people. And everyone should leave his laws, verse 42, everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. So the heathen like, okay, whatever. We can leave our laws, we can leave our pagan traditions, we can leave whatever. We good. King, you in control, and I want a chicken in my pot. Everyone should leave his laws. So the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Okay, yea, also the Israelites consented to his religion. So there was a group of Israelites up next that did consent to it and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. That's verse 43. So when I look at the definition compliance, to yield, to conform, to obey, and the opposite of compliance is defiance and disobedience. They also is non-compliance. They say non-compliance is protest, refusal, and disagreement. Failure to comply also. Failure to observe. That's amazing when they say failure to comply is failure to observe, ignore it, violate, contradict, and disobey it. Because the legislator is in control. So what is a legislator? The one who makes the laws. So when people put customs, traditions, laws, I'm going somewhere with this, over the things of the Most High and they want everybody to fall in line and assimilate, right? We have everything in place. Now, we're not supposed to be obstruct, civil laws. We're supposed to be out here clowning. But if we follow the laws of the Most High, then we won't be lawless. And we coming upon a time of lawlessness real quick, right? I don't even know about that act that's supposed to be in Chicago on January 1st. Just increased lawlessness. It's going to be lawlessness everywhere, man. Not just with that, and I'm not doing a scare tactic, but that's how the enemy is. He said he wants to be like the Most High, but the Most High has structure. The Most High does stuff in decency and order. He has stuff in place. The enemy is all over the place, right? He loves lawlessness, confusion. People don't know what's going on. They don't know their left from their right. He loves that, right? But the Most High, he's not like that. For the king had sent letters to the messengers unto Jerusalem and cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. So they was like, Judah, you guys need to follow the strange laws of the land or other laws, and forbid burning offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple. So the stuff that you got in place, disregard that. We straight on that. This is a new sheriff in town, cultural assimilation, do what we say, right? And that they should profane the Sabbaths and festivals. Like, you don't need to do that anymore, right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep reading up next. I'm gonna keep reading. And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. That's disrespectful. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law. So that is the goal, to forget the things that. And let's put something else there, because people get upset when you say law, right? I know different people be watching. Oh, the law, to forget the things of the Most High, because right, the law was a schoolmaster that led us to Yahushua. We know that, but they just say when they say the law, I'm gonna say the things of the Most High. To the end they might forget the things of the Most High and change all ordinances. That's 49. Am I scrolling up? 49. 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said they should die. So if you don't change your law, statutes, commandment, you don't change what you got in place, you don't change your memorial, you don't change your Most High saying all that ways acknowledge me and I will direct your path. No. Scrap all that stuff or you're going to die. Period. Point blank. And the self-same matter wrote he to this whole kingdom, told everybody the same thing, and appointed overseers, the gatekeepers. Ooh, I said that word. Okay, I said it now. Appointed overseers over all the people, right? They had the heart of the king, the overseers, right? Go make sure everybody doing right. They had it in every culture. They had it in Babylon, right? They spied out Daniel, and they like, hey, king, he up there still worshiping his God, the Most High, and not worshiping you. King, everybody bowed to the statue. He not, right? They got the overseers over the people, command the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. So they had overseers set up. And if you think about it, they have overseers set up today. I'm telling you, they have overseers set up today in different cities, right? To watch and see what's going on. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law. And so they committed evils in the land. So the law is like a plumb line. The law is it's not a bad thing. We have made it a bad thing. Not we, but I'm saying we as humans. We want to do with thy will. And there is the law and grace. It's not an either or. And I think it's presented that it's either or. Either you keep law, statutes, commandment, put yourself underneath, you be a Pharisee and Sadducee, you put yourself back underneath the things of the Most High, or you get this grace after you say the sinner's prayer. And law, matter of fact, a lot of the Old Testament, so-called Old Testament, he's showing a lot of grace. right? To David, I can go on and on and on, right? To Jacob, he showed a lot of grace in the Old Testament. You know, and if you look at some of the stories, all in Kings, he showed a lot of grace. He didn't annihilate us. He didn't wipe us out. He sent us into captivity. He said, okay, y'all want to worship these other nations and their things? Here you go. Have at it. Go serve them other nations since you don't want to serve me. Feel me? All right. So, and drove the Israelites into secret places. So they like, and that's what even in China, we got some believers in the Yahusha, the believers in the Messiah, and even in North Korea and some of the places, it's illegal to do what we doing. We couldn't do this over in some of them places, man. They come and kicking in your door and slap you upside the head real quick, and worse, right? So they drove the Israelites to secret places, and wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now the 15th, verse 54. Now the 15th day of the month Chelsu, in the 155th year, they set up an the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and built altars, idol altars throughout the cities of Judea and every side. And this became, I put a little mark, I said it became a tradition. So let's just think. You got the Israelites, they doing the things of the Most High, right? This decree come out, and they fear for their life. Like, man, look, we just gonna do what they say, so we don't get killed. Then your children's children come up, they don't know the things of the Most High, right? So all of this abomination, all of this lawlessness, all it's normal. It's normal, right? And so when you got people that's holding on, saying, "Nah, man, that ain't how it should go. That ain't how it should go." Man, you tripping. You're extreme, man. Man, you tripping. That's what happens. That's what happens a lot of time. But I'm gonna finish reading. And burn incense at the doors of the house, verse 55, and in the streets. And when they had written pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. So they destroyed the books of the law, and they ripped it in pieces, and they burnt it with fire. Like, wow, man. So I just think when people go the extra mile to hide something, it must be some value to it, don't you think? If I was a slave and they say you cannot read, it's illegal to read, you read, I'm gonna beat you down and I'll probably kill you, right? But just in case you do learn how to read, we're gonna give you the slave Bible, right? With all of the scriptures like servants obey your masters. All the Exodus was out of the slave Bible. Look up slave Bible. Deuteronomy was out of the slave Bible. Jeremiah was out of the slave Bible. It was certain books. It was real thin, right? A lot of those books were out of the slave Bible, right? So, but these are guides. These are roadmaps. It shows us what the Most High likes and what he don't like. So we can't just omit stuff. And even right now, like, okay, sinner's prayer, say the sinner's prayer. Don't read the Old Testament. The Old Testament showed us what he liked and what he don't like, right? The Old Testament, I'm saying the Old Testament because so you know what I'm talking about. Give us these stories, these historical stories, right? Intertestament, this story from the Intertestament, and let us know so we can say, oh, okay. Most High ain't feeling that. Okay, bet. Okay. So he rent to pieces the book of the law, which they found, they burnt with fire. And whosoever, just like in the days of the slavery, whosoever was found with the book of the testament, or if any committed the law, the king's commandment was they should be put to death. So if you could keep trying to follow the things of the Most High if you want to, you're gonna die, right? If I find you with one of them books, you're gonna die. Why is he trying to erase the things of the Most High? If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Right? So it's trying to get us off our point and get us away from the things of the Most High. Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month as were found in the cities. Verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of Yah. So they started sacrificing upon his altar. Verse 60. At which time, according to the commandments, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. So this is women that be running fear. That's why it's like an emasculation for the man, the man, and not because of the circumcision, but it's like the slave mom trying to wanted the slave son to be docile and don't because some of them was alpha males. You know what I'm saying? Just like be cool, because you're gonna be getting killed out here. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get worked. So, but then these women right here say, you know what? We're gonna continue to circumcise our children as unto the Most High. And it was like, okay, you're gonna get killed. Verse 61, and they hang the infants by their necks. I think about gator bait. I think about people getting hung, and the babies getting pregnant women being hung, and the babies being cut out. Very sad. And rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. So if you keeping up, they think. Okay, I'm gonna read that in a second. You're about to have me read that. Wherefore they chose rather than howbeit many of the Israelites were fully resolved and confirmed themselves not to eat the unclean thing. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died, and there was very great wrath upon Israel. Now, these people, 63, to say, you know what? For y'all live, for y'all die. It takes a certain, you don't get there overnight, right? The Hebrew boys like, look, you can turn it up 7 times harder. You're trying to threaten me, right? My life. The Most High can deliver us out your hand, but if he don't, he's still the Most High. It takes the time to get to that. So I pray that everybody on this chat and the people that's listening, myself, be able to get to that place, right? Because it's easy to do a Peter move, a Kepha move. Like, yeah, Most High, I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. But Yahushua said, well, get thee behind me, Satan, because if I don't die, you don't live. So I have to die so you can live. I had to be shed my blood so you can live. So again, compliance. You yield, you conform, you obey. I got this right off the page. The opposite is defiance and disobedience. So it's going to become a time when the civil laws and the laws of the land, and even right now, it's going to be against, and it's going to try to usurp authority over the things of the Most High. And that's when we draw a line in the sand, right? And people are going to think we are against progress, right? But we know the Ruach showed us the things to come, all right? But now I'm going to read some of this Maccabees too. I'm going to do, I might have to read this whole thing. Dang, that looks good. That's some good stuff right there. Because I highlighted the whole thing. Okay. So Matthias was a high priest. And we're gonna be closing soon, but I had to do this. He was a high priest, and verse 6, we're gonna go down to verse 6. Because they're just talking about all of the brothers. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me, wherefore I was born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. So my question is this: how did he know that it was blasphemy? Why is he grieved? How did he know? How did he know? Because he knew about the things of the Most High. They passed it down from generation to generation. He didn't compromise. He didn't assimilate, right? He kept it. So he could tell the difference between the things of the Most High and the things that's not of the Most High. You spot it out instantly, right? When we wash with the water of his word. When we read his word, okay, Most High, this is what you like, this is what you don't like. Okay, this cool, okay. And then when we see society or whoever doing the opposite of it, right, then we can be able to discern by the Ruach right away and say, that ain't the things of the Most High. And so to the heathen and to the stranger and to the people who have not been washed with the water word, what's wrong? What's wrong? Ain't nothing wrong, man. Man, you're tripping, man. No, we ain't tripping, man. We don't want to disrespect our king. We don't want to disrespect the Most High. right? We could do bad all by ourselves, man. So we don't want to just have a free fall. So that's why we repent daily, and we ask the Most High daily. Verse 8: her temple has become as a man without glory. Verse 9: her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity again, because this is the third kingdom, right? Captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Wow. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. Are our young men being slain in the streets? What nation had not part in her kingdom and gotten her spoils? Like, who has not benefited from the spoils? Who have benefited from the spoils? And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty of our glory, is laid to waste, and the Gentiles profaned it. Man. Okay, I'm gonna jump down to verse 17. Because I'm getting somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Then answered the king's officers. Oh no, I gotta do 14. I'm sorry. Verse 14. I have to, because it's gonna give you part of the story. Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. And in the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compiled the people to revolt, came to the city Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came to them, Matthias also and his sons together. Then answered the king's officer and said to Matthias, on this wise thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as the heathen have done. Yea, the men of Judah also. So it's like not just heathen. Some of your kinfolk is doing this too. Judah also, and such remain in Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. So, man, go ahead and do what we said do. Forsake the things that you had set up, and you'll keep your life, and you'll have many rewards. Then Matthias answered and spoke with a loud voice, though all the nations are under the king's dominion, obey him, and fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commands. Yet will I and my sons and my brother walk in the covenant of our fathers. So that's disrespectful to the king. He said, we're gonna walk in the covenant of our fathers, right? That's being defiant. What they say, opposite of compliance is defiant. That's disobedient, right? Right? You fail to observe, you fail to comply. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, neither to the right hand or to the left. Right? So, verse 23. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came the Jews in the sight of all the sacrifices on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. Which thing that Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear or shew his anger according to the judgment, where he ran and slew upon the altar. So he was upset, right? He was jealous for the things of the Most High, right? Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner who compiled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. So the things that they had set up, he started pulling that stuff back down. Restoration. He wanted to restore the things of the Most High. Now, we read in the Bible when they say they pulling down groves and altars. We just can't go tear down the Washington Monument, right? I ain't saying do that. But in our heart, our mind, will, and emotions, we can tear down these idols that set up in our hearts, right? And place the things of the Most High in our heart. Also, the king's commissioners who complied made a sacrifice. He killed them. He dealt zealously for the law of God, like Phinehas did Zabri, the son of Solomon. And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintains the covenant, let him follow me. So he's looking out like, hey, I know all y'all ain't bowed down to this. Who with me? Who's zealous of the law? Who's zealous of the things of the Most High? Who still want to, be down with the things of the King, the Most High? So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all and ever they had in the city. Man, that sounds like a bug out bag, ain't it? And then many sought after justice and judgment, went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore. So man, they was wreaking havoc. Like, let me find somebody who want to keep this stuff. We gonna do something bad to them. History repeat itself. People die, spirits don't, and their assignments never change. I heard that from Apostle Alexander. People die, spirits don't, and their assignments never change. Right? So we read things in Exodus, we read things in Kings, we read things in here, and it's like saying almost the same exact thing. Well, I can picture it today. Okay? Verse 31, scroll up a little bit. I'm trying to get to this other part, then we're going to close out. Now, when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandments were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, like they left. They left all their stuff, right? That didn't even keep them there, right? The stuff of Babylon didn't keep it. Well, Greece didn't keep them there, right? They hid in the wilderness. We out of here, right? They pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath. So on the Sabbath, they just rest. So they weren't doing a war, none of that. They were just relaxing. And they said unto them, that which we have done, two more verses or two more pages, and I'm gonna bring on this point. That which we have done hereunto, come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. So even after all that stuff they did, they say, look, man, it profits them more for you to comply than you to die. I'm going to say that again. It profits them more for you to comply than you to die. Because that's standing up even in the face of opposition. That's standing up even in the face of death. It causes a ripple effect to those who are still alive. And they say, whoa, they stood up. What? You feel what I'm saying? Everybody ain't running scared, right? They ain't kill them. That's why they said, look, it's better that you, man, just comply, man. All we just want you, just comply, man. Right? And they said to them, let that which you have done hitherto suffice. Come forth, do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath. Right? And so the story talks about how they died. Not Matthias, but a lot of those guys died. I'm gonna go because I'm gonna project something different. Man, I got so much stuff in here. But read that. I put it in the chat. Man, faithful unto death. Man, Most High, I want to be faithful unto death. I'm gonna show this other thing, this other diagram thing, and then we're gonna get out of here because we done peeled off an hour. And maybe I'll just do a part 3 and read the last pages. But I'm gonna show I'm gonna present this thing because this is what I was thinking about when I was looking at this. Okay. What's all these side things coming up? Oh, all right. So I don't know if it's showing it. Okay, it's showing it. Let me project it. Slideshow. All right. So one of the things that I had got out of this as well, man, I got a lot of things out of it, but there is an erosion and a chipping away of the things of the Most High once we go into captivity. So if you think about that, when we went to Babylon, when we went to Egypt, when Assyria, this modern day Babylon, there's an erosion. There's a chipping away of things, right? All right, so I'm going to show you this diagram right here. So I'm going to go right here. So I gave this an example of the ways of the Most High. So the circle is the ways of the Most High, and the red square is the ways of the heathen. And in the beginning, the green line There's a clear separation between the two, right? There's a clear separation between the two. Okay, a fusion of both things, the Most High and the heathen. So then this happens, right? A compromise, a fusion of the holy and the profane. So this circle is the things of the Most High. This square is still the things of the heathen. And this purple area right here is a fusion of the two, right? It's so it get murky, right? We don't, and I'm not saying it's either black or white, either or, but I'm saying the things of the Most High get murky, get compromised, right? The goal is to blur the lines so we cannot tell the difference between the holy and profane, right? And it's a slow process to do something. So that purple area in the middle is a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So Ezekiel 22 said, her priests have violated my law and have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and the profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, right? Or the things that I like and the things I don't like. And have hid their eyes from the Sabbath, and I have profaned them. And I have profaned among them, right? So we don't know no difference, right? And the more that leaders and leadership do this, it becomes more and more murky, right? There's no things of the Most High, right? It chips away at it. It's an erosion. So I'm gonna read this next scripture. So Ezekiel 44, they shall teach my people, they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane. They meaning the priests, and cause them to discern between clean and unclean, right? The things of me and the things that's not of me, right? Okay. Lawlessness. You hit it right on the head, right? So we got a lawless faith. We want to be motivational speakers, and drink grape juice and fly and get flued out and have all these conferences. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that, but we look at the celebrity-ness of it. You know what I mean? And everybody, got 9 churches on one corner. On one block, and y'all not coming together. Y'all say one faith, one Lord, one baptism. Y'all not coming together for the things of the Most High. Then you got 10, he got 25, she got 38, and he got 100, and he think he's doing real good because he got 300 members. Need to come together, man. Israel, we always splintered, right? And it's just splintered all the time. So this is the original goal. The goal is to shrink and eventually eliminate completely the ways of the Most High. So only thing that's left is the ways of the heathen. So it's a slow progress of eliminating the holy things altogether, right? So we gotta continue to stay on the wall in the midst of opposition, continue to focus on the things of the Most High. And we're gonna pray, and I might do a part 3 of this because I still sometimes you overstudy and it's just a whole bunch of stuff. But it just stood out so much. First Maccabees chapters 1 and 2 just stood out so much. What you said, just like Satan wanted the infrastructure of light and darkness in the book of Melchizedek, murky confusion, chaotic infrastructure. Yep. And so the Most High has things in place. And so even with Levi, like they were the priests, right? Well, we got a high priest now, Yahusha. But I'm saying when they had priests, the tribe of Levi is where the priests come from. He already established that, right? Benjamin can't come up and put on the stuff. Yeah, you Israel, but you can't come. A heathen, a stranger can't come and put on the stuff, right? And because it's going to be out of order. It's going to be lawless. It's going to be profane, right? And so that's what happens a lot. The tribe of Judah is where the kings came from, right? It is what it is. This is his way of doing. This is his order. And so we want to switch things up and change land and change people and replace people and slide this over there. Why? Leave well enough alone. He is not going to do anybody wrong. He's for everyone, right? If you're for him, right? He's for the stranger. He's for true Israel who was grafted in, who was the root. He's for the stranger who's grafted in. He is, but it's a way that you got to do things. So it don't make sense to say, all right, we replace Israel. Why did Israel get kicked to the curb for a season till the fullness of the Gentiles come in? And because they didn't know the holy from the profane, they was messing up, right? In a nutshell. If you read the whole book of Jeremiah, you'll see, and Ezekiel. Why? Okay, they messed up. You cannot replace them and do what you want. That don't make sense. Like, you're going to replace the people of the Most High and then do what you want. Just say a little quick sentence prayer and live however you want to live. That don't make sense. And so we've been sold a bill of goods, and even this says in Jeremiah 16:19, we have inherited lies. And it's such a stronghold, and it's been for so long, years and years and years. We don't want to let go of the stronghold of our fathers, right? Most High, if it's cool, I'm gonna keep it. But if it ain't cool, man, help me. Change my appetite, because I'm gonna like the things you like and hate the things you hate. Amen. Faithful. Yep, they was straight faithful. Praise Yahushua. Right? And so, and even when they came out of Babylon, in closing, we finna close. Even when they came out of Babylon, they had some people that wasn't from the lineage of Levi. If you read that story, I did a study on that. They wasn't from Levi, and so when they start cleaning house and restoring things, they say, "Oh, y'all, this little family, y'all not Levitical, what? Y'all got to go. We trying to restore things. Oh, you trying to put a yoke of bondage under our neck and put us back under the law, and you ain't read Galatians, who have bewitched you, and no, you're taking that out of context. That's not what that means. And so the awakening is some stuff is going to be restored, right? Some stuff is fulfilled, but some stuff is restored. Period, point blank, right? We're not sacrificing bulls and goats. We know that. We're not sacrificing lambs, right? We know that. But the things of the Most High, his feast, and he said, all their ways acknowledge me, and I will direct thy path. So even his feast, even if we can't keep it to a T, because we're in the land of our captivities, we prophesy in part, we preach in part. It's not a part of our traditions that we've been passed down by Big Mom and them. We get it. But for us to start, for us to acknowledge it. I'm going to have Bishop Brown from Boom Church. He's going to come on and talk about those different feasts that he kept. How did they keep it? How did they acknowledge it? Did they keep it with a feast or with a fast? Right? If we at least acknowledge it, put it on our radar, and it expands more, then look, we're working with something, as opposed to, ignoring the things of the Most High altogether. Like, it comes and goes, and we don't even think about it. That has to be on our radar. These are, even when they say communion, and often you do this in remember of me. Do these different things in remembrance of me. The Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Trumpets, right? I'm not saying go run out and buy a ram's horn, but acknowledge it on that day. Pray, fast on that day. Feast or fast on that day, right? And so ask the Most High, how do you want me to acknowledge this day? How do you want me to acknowledge this day? And so folk be like, we ain't got to. Yeah, we know. But how have the things of the Most High been eroded? How have the things of the Most High been eroded? They have been. So do you think, in the chat, a lot of the things of the Most High have been eroded? Right? Yes or no? Right? And you don't have to explain yourself. I mean, this is your, what do you think? A lot of those things they need to be restored. And so folk freak out, think you're trying to keep all 613 laws and all this. No, some of that stuff is fulfilled. And some of that stuff is yet to come. Right? Many things, right. And I think for the kingdom, it's an indictment against the kingdom of darkness. If every year you say, I'm going to celebrate Passover in some kind of form or fashion, I'm gonna celebrate Passover. That's an indictment. He got to relive that. He set up this. You got to think, man. This is a game of chess. He didn't set up these kings and these kingdoms, and they, because he set up Egypt, put them all. You know what I'm saying? He hooked them up, and then the Most High come through and do that. You got to relive that again. So yeah, man. I don't want you to be talking about that. I don't want you to tabernacle under a tent. I don't want you to blow the horn, sound the alarm, war horn. This lets me know that my time is running short. And he's running to and fro, thinking who he may devour. So, of course, I can see why he would not want those things to be restored or acknowledged. You feel me? But us, we coming around slowly, man. We coming around slowly. So we gotta pray for one another. We gotta focus on one another, and we can't just, oh man, beat each other up, because we learn. We all learn. I'm learning different things. Certain things, that you won't even think that Babylon got a straight hooks in your back. Like, oh wow, I did not know that I was tripping like that. It ain't nothing extreme, but it is still like, man, the stuff that we do, the stuff that we say, the stuff that, you know what I mean? It's just so a part of the culture. To keep it real, we don't even think about it. And so the Most High to tell us, the still small voice tell us different. So Abba Yah, in the name of Yahushua, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for all my brothers and sisters that joined on here. You said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. We worship you, we honor you, we adore you, we lift you up. Abba Yah, show us, give us discernment in this end time. Show us what needs to be restored and what is fulfilled or don't need to be restored. Abba Yah, show us, Abba Yah, in the name of Yahushua. Let us be patient with one another. Let us be loving with one another, not just the nation of Israel, but all nations, because we are called to be salt and light in the earth, and there's going to be many nations in the Shemayim. So we thank you for all the many blessings put up on us. In Yahushua HaMashiach's name we pray. Amen. Thank y'all for joining. If you haven't seen the first one, go ahead and check that first one out, right? And we're going to see if I get to 1K, man. I'm supposed to been to 1K 3 times at least. And it's not just about going to 1K, but it's about, don't unsubscribe my stuff. Once I get to 80, 81, 82, then it go back down to 78. And that happened like 4 or 5 times. So I'm just like, man, who doing what? At first, I thought it was some of the material that was some folk were mad, like, oh, man, well, that's cool, But I'm just like, man, when I get to 78, 81, 82, 83, boop, go back down to 78. So that's crazy. So hallelujah. Praise Yah. Praise you. Praise Yah. Thank you, Dale J, Rachel S. Blessings to y'all. Kimberly J, if this been a blessing to y'all, this discussion and chop up, then share it with somebody. Rohan, blessings to you, brother. Be getting in contact with you soon. Ernest Higgs, blessings, man. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Did Up Next leave? Up Next, you still here? 78 Vet, blessings to you. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Want to make sure I said, I gave everybody a shout out in here. Lynn Bernard. Lynn Bernard. I don't know why I put you in Australia, Lynn Bernard. I think it's another Lynn from Australia. So my bad. All right. So man, blessings. Thank y'all for joining. And we're gonna get out of here. Elephant Man Podcast Network, Grown Man Conversations, Different Elephants in the Room. I am out.
Perfect.